Welcome to Rodney and Dr. A's Relationship Hub. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Also take note of the video chapters. If you're short on time, you can use them to find the section that interests you the most. Now let's talk about the 4 C's for a healthy relationship.
The first C is communication. Communication is vital in a relationship because neither one of you are mind readers and you don't know what the other person is thinking. Although communication does not eliminate issues and problems and conflicts from occurring, it is an excellent tool to use when you are trying to resolve one. There are several ways that communication can be used, and one is active listening. Now, active listening is more than just hearing what the person says. Basically, try to understand where the person is coming from and what the person is actually trying to convey. I'm not going to go into much details about active listening because we did a previous video on this topic, and I will put the link in the description. Well, the thing about communication that I've learned working in mental health is that for me, I work with a lot of minority clients, and it was very hard to get them to communicate, to talk, to be open, to feel that they could trust what they say is not going to leave my office. So I don't know if it's a cultural thing as to why communication is very difficult for some people, but why do you think communication is important or is necessary in a relationship, any type of relationship?
I don't know if it's a cultural thing either. I understand exactly what you're saying, where people don't like to open up and share things. I'm kind of that way. I think it definitely might be more of a male thing though, because when I talk to other men, we don't like being vulnerable. We don't like being soft. But again, if I don't tell you what's on my heart, if I don't tell you what's on my mind, you're never going to know. And then what usually happens, if I'm expecting you to read my mind, which you cannot do, and then I start to be upset and resent you when you haven't read my mind. So it's important for me to communicate, or it's important for anyone to communicate so that you know exactly what I'm thinking, exactly what I'm feeling, whatever wants or needs that I think I need at that time. If I don't share them with you, there's no way for you to know, which means there's no way for that to be resolved. And another thing that people really get caught up in this day and age is using technology for everything. We always want to send a text message or we want to send an email. We don't actually want to use our voices and speak to anybody. So we can't lose that art of actually opening our mouths and talking to each other and having that one-on-one communication. You also lose tone a lot of times when you're in text messages, because there's been several instances with us where you'll send me something through a text message and I take it one way and that's not the way that you meant it at all, and vice versa. So, when you're using all those devices that make everything so much easier, you actually use that personal touch or that feeling or that emotion behind it that can actually give more clarity if it's delivered straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
And I'm glad you mentioned tone, because tone is even important when you're verbally talking, because your tone sets the tone for that dialogue.
Absolutely. Our next C is collaboration. Now, collaboration is very important because it's just what it says. Collaboration means that we bring the two of us together to work towards the mutual benefit of the relationship. Now, collaboration does not mean that we agree on everything. Collaboration does not mean that we like all the same things, but collaboration does mean that we are still working towards that same goal, which is the success of our relationship. Any thriving relationship, both parties definitely have to collaborate together in order to work. Dr. A actually says you should make your relationship, for lack of a better term, like a business plan. And what exactly you mean by that?
And I don't want anyone to, take it out of content. But what I mean by that is when you are developing a business plan, you're writing down all of the goals and things that you would like to see in the future to happen in that business. Now, sometimes some of those goals may happen and sometimes they don't. And then you have to kind of push that timetable back. But because you've already set up this plan, you already know what it is that you want to see happen in this business. So I believe that all relationships should have like a relationship plan where you discuss the goals and objectives. Like the Bible says, make that plan and make it clear and make it visual. So you have to go into a relationship, even like you would in a business, with some type of plan or some type of goal. What is it that you want to see? For example, some of our goals were to own a house, get better jobs, get degrees, finish school. I mean, you have to have something set up so that you have something to work toward.
My favorite goal that we had was getting all them kids out of our house. And one of them just came back. He graduated from college, so we're going to allow him to hang around for a little while. But I do remember when we first got married, we actually did sit down and write down some things that we wanted to do, or how we wanted to travel and how we wanted to invest and save money. As life started life, and as people say, we kind of pushed that to the back burner. But as the kids got a little bit older, we actually sat back down and talked about exactly what we wanted to start doing in our life from that point forward. And I'm happy to say we've kind of been sticking to that plan. And again, even though we're talking about collaboration, that actually still falls back to our first point of communication, because we sat down and talked about what we want to do, and now we're able to see the fruits of those communications start to blossom and bear fruit. So that's actually a good thing. Now, one of the things that I can think about when we talk about collaboration, again, there's a lot of different aspects of collaboration in a relationship, and we've had to collaborate over the years through a lot of different things. Different work schedules. Sometimes I had to take the kids to school. Sometimes I had to pick the kids up. Sometimes you had to take them and pick them up. A lot of times, I had to be the one to kind of corral the kids and us get out of the house and get out of your hair and allow you to be able to work. So we were collaborating all throughout our marriage at different points and different times. But the ultimate goal was to make sure that the relationship continued to push forward and continue to grow and thrive.
And we also had to collaborate when we decided to leave Miami and move to Georgia, because we took really big pay cuts to do it.
Yes.
But we did it because we wanted to save our family, so that we both can be in our kids' lives, because we have 3 boys and 1 girl, and they needed a man, and it took some discipline and collaboration and working together as a team to still see those same dreams and goals accomplished. I mean, it took a little longer. That's how long it takes. It's just, can we do it? And if we can't do it, then you need to go back and revise it,
right,
so that you can make it workable.
Right. And that is another point that you just said, going back. Even though we make that plan in the very beginning, we want to come back and revisit that plan periodically to, 1, make sure we are on track where we want to be, but 2, if we do need to make some tweaks and make some changes, that we're able at that point to make those changes and then continue to move forward from there.
And even now, because back then the technology wasn't as sophisticated as it is now, you can create somewhat of a vision plan of, vision board is what I'm trying to say.
Right. And
you don't have to necessarily go get magazines and newspapers anymore and cut them and put them on a poster board. You have apps out there. You can use Canva to, kind of set up different pictures on a board in Canva and put it on your phone in your pictures or your screensaver. And that way you can always look at that plan or that vision plan and, make sure that it stays alive.
Our third C is commitment. Now, commitment is the cornerstone of any relationship. If you aren't committed in your relationship, it's already defeated before you even start. When you have a committed relationship, that means both parties feel safe, both parties feel nurturing, and both parties are secure in that relationship, because commitment is necessary to make it grow. Now, when we talk about commitment, it's not more than just loyalty. If I'm committed to my relationship, that means I'm there for the long haul. I'm going to work through the good and through the bad, and every single thing that I do is going to make sure that bond stay
solid.
Yeah, that part. And that we're able to hold it together and keep on moving on. Now, to you, what makes commitment so important? Because you actually talk about this a whole lot. Because if I remember correctly, in one of our videos, commitment is the number 1 reason for divorce, right?
It is. When I did the research, I found that commitment is the number 1 reason. Now, what I will say is, back in the day, when my mom, my grandmother, and even my great-great-grandmother, their definition of commitment was much stronger than today's generation. If one thing is go wrong or 2 things go wrong in a relationship, sometimes people are ready to bail out.
I'm out.
Yeah, these women were strong because they stayed committed in their relationships regardless of what. The man could have another woman on the side, babies from this woman, and sometimes that wife would still, even raise some of the man's kids. I mean, they stayed grounded, they stayed committed until the end. They didn't just bounce, they honored the vows that they said before God. And I'm not telling anyone to, go through all of that. You want things right now real quick, and you're not willing to work through the rough patches of a relationship. We've been together for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
And there have been many rough spots, many hard situations where I really feel sometimes like, okay, I'm ready to bounce. But we stuck it through. And now it's just so much easier because we've gone through those patches. We've gone through those rough roads. And so that's really like nothing to us right now. But it took some time. It took some practice. And we had to work through it. And we had to both commit to, okay, no matter what happens, we're going to stay here. We're going to make this thing work.
I think, and I say this all the time whenever I'm giving my testimony about our relationship. The best thing for us is that neither one of us ever wanted to quit at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there was times you wanted to quit, there was times I wanted to quit, but whenever one of us did, the other one was like, no, we're going to keep this thing working. So neither one of us, we never were both at that point where we like, all right, I'm done with you. Because I think if we both said I quit at the same time, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. But there was always at least one when the other one was feeling like they'd had enough that was going to stay there and hold it together and tough it out. Like you said, we on autopilot now.
Yeah, the one thing I don't want to ever do, y'all, is start over right now and have to retrain another man. So I know this man right here, and I've done a good job of molding him. Yeah. So I'm not trying to do that again.
So how do you maintain commitment after trust has been broken?
Now that trust thing is a very difficult one to, I guess, build back from. I'm not saying that you can't, it's possible. But trust is something that takes a person a very long time to heal from. And so when you have broken that trust, the person that broke the trust should not rush that person to heal. You have to give that person time to heal.
And it's their time, not yours.
Correct. Because that trust thing is what holds, to me, a relationship together. That trust thing is what makes you feel safe with that person. That trust thing is what allowed you to kind of feel vulnerable with that person. But once that trust is broken, it's going to take a while for a lot of that to heal and to be repaired.
I agree. And I think real quick, I want to add a little caveat. Whenever you say trust being broken, people automatically go to infidelity. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be something as simple as I tell you I'm going to be somewhere and I'm not there. I tell you I'm going to do something and I'm not, and I don't do it. Or we're in a situation where I should have your back and then I leave you hanging out there all by yourself. So all of those things could be something where that trust has been broken, and all of that could be something that's very difficult to heal from. It doesn't necessarily mean that the man or the woman stepped out of the marriage with a different person. Trust goes in a lot of different directions, and it, like you said, it's definitely hard to heal from once that is broken. Now, the last thing I want to touch on as we talk about commitment is that role of individual growth and improvement in maintaining commitment. And what we mean by that is the person that I was at 19 when we got married is not the same person I am at 53 now. What I take that to mean is that as you mature, as you start to get more knowledge, as you start to move higher and go further in life, your goals, your aspirations, and how you look at things should actually change. When I was 19, I probably really expected to get my way a lot more in my marriage than I do now. I understand that in order for this marriage to work, it's not just all on you to do everything. I have to do my part as well. The commitment can't just be one-sided. It has to be both of us together. But again, that comes with growth. That comes with maturity. And so I think that's very important for every person to kind of want to improve themselves as the relationship goes on. And I think that will actually help you stay committed to each other.
And when I first got married, I was taught that a marriage is 50-50. Lies.
Wrong.
It's 100-100.
That's right.
Both have to be committed. Both have to want it to work. And both have to nurture it.
Absolutely. Now, our next point is one that probably causes a lot more tension in relationships than people would like to admit. Our next C is compromise.
What is compromise?
Compromise is do what I say when I say it, so I have my way all the time. Right?
No, it is not.
That's not it?
No, it's
you
not.
sure?
I'm positive.
No. Compromise means that we both are giving and taking. I may allow you to have your way today. You may allow me to have my way tomorrow. It doesn't mean that we always agree on every single thing, but it means that I will allow something for the benefit of the relationship to go your way and vice versa. Now, compromise is essential to have a strong relationship. If we never compromise, if I'm always pushing against you, you're always pushing against me, what's going to happen is that cart is never going to move. We're going to end up going nowhere. So we both have to be able to compromise. The biggest thing that I had to learn about compromise is not to try to keep score. Well, I compromised 4 times this week. That means she need to compromise 4 times next week. It's not even about that.
It should be a balance.
Yeah, it definitely is about a balance. It means I see something that you desire for the benefit of the relationship, which is what we're supposed to both be working for. I'm going to allow that to go. And when you look at something from my point of view, I would think that you would look at it that exact same way. Now, I think it's important that we maintain our personal values.
Individualization.
Yeah. If you want me to compromise on something that's illegal, I really wouldn't expect you to do that. And vice versa.
But that comes with the values of each person.
Right.
And for me, when we first got married, compromising was very difficult for me. I wanted it my way. I'm the right 99.9% of the time, and I wanted it my way.
What changed?
But I mean, I'm older now, and I've learned that you do have our best interests at heart. It's not just about you. When you're compromising, it's not about you. It's about us. You can't make it about you.
Right.
So I had to learn that you're not trying to control me. You're not trying to, you're looking out for all of our best interests. It's not just about just you. I had to learn that.
Oh.
Yeah, man, I had to learn that, man. I'm a strong person.
Yes, I know. Nobody knows that better than me, my love. But I'm committed to this relationship.
I was raised by a strong woman, so yeah, it took me a long time with that compromise and stuff.
I think one of the things that does help as well is when you approach that compromise, if you approach with a good attitude and approach with humility. If I don't come to you like this is the way it's got to be and it's going to go that way or nothing else. I come to you humble. I come to you with the right posture. I think that makes it a little bit easier for that person to be able to see where you're coming from and maybe say, okay, let's try that route today. Yes.
And not only that, I trust you more now. I mean, when we first got married, it's not that I didn't trust you, but I really didn't know you like that. But we've been together I don't even know how long. It's been a long time. I would say 40 something years dating and married.
Yeah. So you know me now, right?
Yeah, I probably know you better than you know yourself.
Pretty close.